Is the recession taking a turn for the better? If housing sales are any indication, it is. Sales are off to their fastest start since 1989, the last boom year for new construction. With the United States threatening trade restraints on Japan, the Japanese are preparing to significantly reduce car exports to the U.S. That's good news for the big three, Ford, GM, and Chrysler, but for the consumer, it could mean higher prices. Police say the suspects entered the bank at 2:30 this afternoon from this side door. After threatening to kill anyone who moved, they collected $13,000 from bank tellers and fled out the front. Police are looking for a 1988 red Chevrolet with Michigan license plates. Valentine's Day lovers, take heart. The fat found in chocolate does not raise the levels of the kind of cholesterol that leads to heart disease. But go easy on the nuts. It's the nut-filled confections that have the most calories. More and more people are dumping their garbage into vacant lots like this one. It's not only an eyesore, it's attracting rodents, and it's costing the city thousands of extra dollars in cleanup efforts. I worked in London as a reporter for the Barnborough Times and the Hendon Times. I also was able to work at ABC News with Peter Jennings and with Diane Sawyer. I was brought up in a family that was always media-oriented. Both of my parents are newspaper publishers. And growing up in that atmosphere, you get hooked on it. It gets into your blood. California Governor Pete Wilson has declared a state of emergency for another in a series of storms that has triggered more flooding, mudslides, and death. For Southern California, an area that's used to years of drought, it's been a rude transition. At least 6 people have been killed since Sunday, including a couple buried in their bed by a mudslide today. Major highways are closed and communications are out. Some areas have received 10 inches of rain already. Trailer parks are submerged, cars are stuck, some swept away by the current. Motorists are stranded, others had to be rescued. Meteorologists are calling it the worst weather of the century, and they warn more storms are on the way from the Pacific. The World Health Organization indicates the AIDS virus is spreading at an alarming rate worldwide. It estimates 10 to 12 million people are infected with the virus. Of that number, at least 1 million are children. According to the United Nations, there have been 1 million new AIDS cases since last April. The sanity trial of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer continues in Milwaukee today. The case could go to the jury as early as tomorrow. Today, a prosecution psychiatrist testified that Dahmer wanted a freeze-dried corpse for his sexual pleasure, but couldn't afford the $30,000 price tag. The psychiatrist believes Dahmer does not suffer from an uncontrollable urge to kill. If the jury agrees with such testimony, Dahmer could spend the rest of his life in prison. President Bush formally announced his candidacy for president today in Washington. Bush's re-election committee has been in place since last October and has already raised $11 million for his campaign. One of the more sensitive political issues facing Bush in this election year is just how much aid to give the former Soviet Union. Charges by political opponents say that Bush is more concerned about helping a former enemy than providing for the needy at home. A Russian official says he hopes the humanitarian aid keeps pouring into the Commonwealth from the United States to help the Russian people through the winter. The official points out that U.S. aid is small compared with the aid sent by Europe. Elsewhere, the United States claimed its first gold medal at the Winter Olympics in Albertville, France. Bonnie Blair of Champaign, Illinois, finished first in the 500-meter speed skating event. She will also be competing in the 1,000 and 1,500-meter events. And finally, Universal Pictures has a way to get moviegoers into the theaters during the recession. It's proposing that theaters showing its films offer half-price admission and cut concession prices. Last month, sales at the box office dropped 7% compared to last year.
I have seen their tears, and if I could give my life right now to bring their loved ones back, I would do it. I am so very sorry.
He was contrite, especially toward the families of those he killed and defiled.
I feel so bad for what I did to those poor families, and I understand their rightful hate. And I hope you go to hell.
Before Dahmer spoke, the families got their chance to tell the court of the pain that never goes away because of what he did.
You took my 17-year-old son away from me. I'll never get a chance to tell him that I loved him.
Jim, whatever your name is, Satan, I'm mad.
Lost control of herself and lurched toward the defense table.
Jeffrey, I hate you!
happen in sentencing.
I know society will never be able to forgive me. I know the families of the victims will never be able to forgive me for what I have done.
He is not remorseful. He just knows that his life is over. What else was he supposed to say?
After being sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, Dahmer was sped off to prison, where he will spend the rest of his days in the segregation unit. Dahmer won't be eligible for parole until the year 2928, 936 years from now. From Milwaukee, I'm Tracey Gamer. When you get something that's good, you know it. It's the emotion, it's the intensity. When somebody tells you what's happened and how it's affected them, that's what's got to go in there. That's what's got to make the piece. In Boston's Back Bay, two groups of streetwalkers are doing battle. The prostitutes and the citizen militia out to shoot them and their customers with video cameras.
The hookers hang out across the street at the Evergreen. And
Sherry Warren is the field commander. With camcorders, still cameras, and paper to write down license plate numbers, these concerned citizens hope to use the glare of publicity to scare customers away. A huge bedsheet carries a warning: patronize a prostitute, risk capture on videotape.
we need more donations so that we can get more video cameras. And we would put a video camera down here on a tripod. And that certainly would move them. They might perform for the camera for a while, but the minute they have no customers, they're gone.
We get a couple of these guys on video, seize their cars. You're not going to have a lot of solicitation taking place around here.
They're insane, aren't they? You better not take my in that cam.
The nighttime patrols have provoked some confrontations. Warren has been assaulted with chemical spray, so at the first sign of trouble... It's quiet here now in the Back Bay, but in a few hours, the camcorders will be rolling again. However, some residents don't think it'll make a difference.
A lot of the Johns, I guess that's what they call them, that come around, don't seem to give a damn. They just they'll laugh at them a lot.
Let's get 4 of you over on that corner. Your community can be crime-free, but you have to want it, and you have to take it back.
And that's what Sherry Warren and her army are trying to do. From the Back Bay, I'm Tracey Gamer. What I like about this business so much is that it doesn't stagnate. There's always something new going on. There's always a new person that's involved in a new story. There's always something new to find out. And I personally am one of those really nosy people who always wants to know what's going on. And I think that's a good combination right there. You know, curiosity, hardworking, luck, and a lot of tough skin.